Got this story from a guy I once knew who's a bit of a moron. This guy was not the type of person to make shit up for attention, and he swore up and down that this was true. This guy goes out for a late night walk. He goes out for late night walks all the time. There's nothing unusual about this one. Then he passes by the local church at around 3 a.m. He sees a dark and shadowy figure standing on the sidewalk, right in front of the church doors. The figure is partly transparent and feminine, dressed in the traditional dress of our country, but it is all black. Pick kinda related. He said that the bottom half was normal, but from the hips up, the figure split in two, as in two separate, distinct, but identical upper bodies sprouted from its waist. They were of a woman as well. He said that it looked like the two upper bodies were trying to exist in the same space, but were physically conflicting, like when a video game spawns two separate meshes in the exact same place, and they glitch out. The phantom just stood there, spasming and vibrating and twitching, and was completely silent save for faint, indecipherable whispering. The guy who told me this said that the whispering seemed to have no source, almost like it was coming from within his own head. This guy moves to the other side of the street and avoids looking at the figure as he walks past. He did not get a good look at his face, but then and there it looked humanoid to him. He walks straight home. After that, he feels shook up and just goes to bed. I assume he just wanted to forget about whatever it was that he saw. He goes to sleep. He falls asleep no problem, but has a strange, foreboding dream that night. He said he had the distinctive feeling of popping into the dream as soon as he fell asleep. It wasn't like when falling asleep normally, where you fall asleep and the dream just sort of starts and you were strung along. He felt like this was premeditated, like he was being summoned or something. He finds himself in an averagely sized, featureless room. There are murky white walls, and they are evenly lit, despite there being no light source. He is sitting on a chair that looks like one of those cheap plastic chairs you'd see in a communal area. There are rows of these chairs, and he is sitting in the middle of the front row. He looks around the room and his family members, both close and extended family from both sides, are sitting on the chairs. They all seem to be in a daze, hypnotized, staring straight forward at the wall. In front of them is an empty projector, projecting a blank image on the wall in front of them all. Standing next to the projector is the shadowy, feminine figure he saw earlier, but this time, it looks, different. It is dressed in the same attire, but it is all one body now, completely solid and still female. The body looks human, very gaunt, but the figure's head was that of an anglerfish. Its eyes are completely white, and it is staring directly at the sky. He cannot explain it, but he just knew it was the same figure he had seen in front of the church. He said that he got the strong impression that this figure was the one who summoned him here, and that it had control over his family members. Now, this guy is not one to put up with such behavior, and this next part is exactly how he described it. He is still in the dream. He smiles wide at the figure, inhumanly wide. Then, this guy projectile vomits a massive stream of vomit directly at the figure. The evil ghost Anglerfish Woman is covered head to toe in vomit. The guy said that the figure recoiled in shock, like it did not expect this to happen. Immediately after, he wakes up in his bed. He is fine, but absolutely drenched in sweat to the point where the bedsheets were soaked. He never had that dream again. He never saw that anglerfish lady or her shadow form again, either. Back when this happened to me, I was working as an assistant for a crime scene cleanup service. It was a shit job while working my way through med school. I saw tons of deceased in my time there. Men, women, children, babies. Meh. I received a deceased who was late term pregnant one afternoon at a prep facility. The deceased had been dead for some time in the humid heat. The boss begins to prepare the deceased for cold storage. Says we will perform the final procedures first thing tomorrow. I nod at him. He gets a page from the secretary. The boss is needed off-site, as secretary and head office is in a different building up the street from this facility. Boss advises me to head upstairs and eat lunch while he is out. I nod. I prepare my lunch, take my time eating, and goof around for a while on my phone. I hear an unusual sound from the basement prep room. The upstairs break room is not far from the basement stairs. I think nothing of it, but decide to check it out anyway. I plug my phone into charge and head downstairs to the basement prep room. I arrive to a horrific sight. The deceased had begun giving coffin birth to an unborn fetus. Not just fetus, but the entire placenta is bulging out. I near about puke. It is the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. The smell is horrific. I almost pass out. I immediately run upstairs to call my boss. My boss tells me, stop being a pussy, don't touch anything, I will be back shortly. I just say okay. I wait in the break room for my boss to return. I hear more noises from the basement prep room. There are loud shuffling sounds. The deceased are known to experience involuntary movement, but this was deeply unsettling. The boss is taking longer than I care for. I consider quitting my job right then and there. Boss finally arrives. Sees I am visibly shaken. Boss apologizes for being a jerk and says he will handle the deceased. I nod. Boss heads to the basement. After a brief moment, I hear the boss shout my name. Anon, get your ass down here now. It's not a panic tone, but an angry one. I am confused. I head downstairs to the basement prep room. The boss is standing near the deceased, visibly trembling with anger, like he wants to beat my ass right then and there. The boss says, Anon, what the fuck? I told you not to touch anything. Huh? I assure my boss that I had not touched the deceased, as per his instructions. Where is the fetus? What? I assure my boss that I have no idea what he is talking about. Boss says something like, this isn't a joke, Anon. I swear if I find out that you were pranking me, it's over for you. Boss threatens me with severe legal repercussions, says these kinds of pranks will ruin both of our reputations. I promise my boss that I did not touch the deceased. Boss asked me to walk him through everything I did while he was away. I oblige. Boss still seems skeptical, but is now at least not looking like he wants to kick my ass. Boss tells me to stand still like a scolded puppy and begins looking around the prep room. I ask if I can at least wear a face mask, but I am met by a cold shoulder. After an exhaustive and repetitive search, the boss is finally calm. The boss insists I stand still while he examines the deceased. I wait, still trying to choke back gag reflex. Boss had been doing this kind of work before I came on board, so the smell and horrifying visage does not bother him one bit. After a thorough examination, Boss determines that the fetus was removed before arriving. Only the placenta and afterbirth was left. Boss determines natural decay in the deceased caused the afterbirth to be ejected. Boss apologizes. No big deal after all. Except, I promise you, I clearly saw the placenta intact and the shape of the baby's head within. Now the placenta is deflated and empty, a clear rupture where the fetus was removed. I begin to think I'm losing it, but I don't say anything to my boss. The boss offers to process the deceased, says I can take the rest of the night off. I oblige. I head home. I do not sleep well over the next few days. I have all the lights on and the radio on blast. I still have horrific night terrors as I try to doze off. I tell myself to just be an adult and get my shit straight. Several days later, I am called into work in the late evening to receive a deceased. The deceased was involved in a traffic accident, so not the usual crime-related stuff. I arrive to the prep facility before my boss. I go through the usual routine, scan my badge, enter the door code, disable the alarm system, turn on the lights in the AC, put on a pot of coffee in the break room, etc. I go sit on the couch in the reception area and start goofing around on my phone. I hear loud noises coming from the basement. The noise is indistinguishable, but somehow human and intentional. Nope. There are only two ways into the basement, either from upstairs or from the rear garage door. No one else is there. The alarm is still armed. I fuck the fuck out of there and go wait in my car. I don't bother to turn anything off, I just leave. I consider quitting again. Boss finally arrives with transport service. Anon, what the fuck are you doing out here? I am usually inside, goofing off. I tell the boss I heard noises coming from the basement prep room and nope the fuck out of there. The boss laughs and hurls the usual insults at me and tells me to assist in prep work for the deceased. I oblige. The deceased is in really bad shape. Male, early 30s, crushed between car and truck while riding a motorcycle. Boss and I work feverishly because it's late and we want to get home. Boss suggests that we take a quick break. I agree. The boss and I head upstairs. I go to the break room. Boss steps outside to smoke. I start to prepare a coffee and plan to join my boss outside because fuck being in here alone again. While making a coffee, I hear a distinct, deliberate, and very loud thump from one of the lower cabinets behind me. I immediately think of zombie fetus crawling around. I squeeze my ass cheeks to keep from squirting a turd. I scramble to the bathroom, literally clutching my ass cheeks together. I make it just in time to blast pure fear-driven dump into the crapper. I hear a similar loud thump in the hallway leading to the bathroom. I barely wipe my ass in a panic. I pull up my pants. I hear a pronounced thud on the bathroom door as though someone is trying to get in. I admittedly squelch out in fear like a total bitch, crying and sweating. I cannot shake the thought of a zombie fetus crawling around. The bathroom door thankfully locks from inside. I grab the plunger and wait for another sound. I go for my phone with my other hand and realize I left it in the break room, trying not to shit myself. I figure if I wait long enough, my boss will come looking for me. Unless the boss gets bitten by the zombie fetus. I stand in terror, holding the plunger like some kind of a makeshift sword. I listen intently for a long while. No more noises. I realize that I'm a grown man standing in the bathroom with a plunger because I almost shit myself thinking of a zombie fetus crawling around. I start to collect myself, but I am still holding the plunger out in front of me because fuck it. I slowly go for the bathroom door. The hall to the bathroom is not very long, but in a U-shape and no overhead lights. It seems, unusually dark. I have to turn a blind corner. I am not looking forward to it. I step cautiously towards the corner. I hear a loud thump from behind me on the bathroom cabinet that sits beneath the sink. Fucking nope. I haul ass for the break room to grab my phone and head straight for the main door, swinging the plunger like an idiot the whole time. I drop the plunger in the foyer and exit the main door. I look around for my boss, who looks up at me from his smoke break with the look that a confused puppy gives. Boss notices I'm acting disheveled and acting like a moron. What the fuck is it now, Anon? Tell my boss I think I've finally seen my last caller, which is slang at my job for when people who do this kind of work can no longer deal with it. Boss insults me, but in the kind of way to cheer me up. I still consider quitting right then and there. Boss assures me that he understands, but asks that I at least finish processing this last deceased. I find my boss's tone reassuring. I consider that maybe I am just being a big pussy. Remember that I almost just shit myself and tried to defend myself with a plunger against a zombie fetus. Remember that I just left a plunger in the foyer, now outside, trying to find comfort with another man. Realize I'm being really stupid about this. I agree to help my boss finish prepping the latest caller. We shoot the shit for a minute. Boss tells me his usual assortment of incidents from the past. We decide to head back in. I walk ahead of my boss in order to grab the plunger so as not to embarrass myself. I scurry with it to the bathroom. I drop the plunger and turn. Notice that the fucking cabinet door beneath the sink is gaping wide open when it wasn't before. I freeze for a moment, trying to figure out what to do next. Cannot stop myself from imagining a zombie fetus emerging from the cabinet. I force myself to look away from it and hurry for the bathroom door. Make my way downstairs to join my boss. The boss is not downstairs. I neurotically scan the floor for zombie fetus as I go back upstairs. I see my boss over in the break room making a coffee. Tell my boss I finally see my last caller. Overwhelming desire to just go home at this point and never go back to that place. Boss glares at me with a look of deep concern. Says something like, "It's late, Anon. You look like shit. I will finish up here." take a while off and think about it, okay? That is the nicest my boss has ever been with me, as if he can tell in all of his experiences that I am done, that I have seen my last caller. I apologize to him and leave him there to contend with the zombie fetus on his own. I get in my car and head home, feeling like a total loser. Again, with the horrific night terrors. All lights on, radio on blast. I cannot sleep. I lay with my blanket pulled all the way up under my nose. I stare at the ceiling. I try to take my mind off the horrific chain of events I just experienced. And then, thump, the same sound as before, same intensity, same intentional sounding humanness, loud and audible from the hallway just outside my room, very distinctly against the baseboard against the wall. I realized that, like an idiot, I did not close my room door, and my phone is across the room on my desk, charging. I literally start crying. I pull my covers over my head and wait for the zombie fetus to crawl its way up to my bed and start gnawing at me or whatever. This all happened this past week. I keep hearing the same thump follow me around wherever I go now. It always starts distant and gets closer and closer with each thump. Yeah, I know how stupid this sounds, but I know it's the zombie fetus. And I know once I actually see it, it's like over for me. I know I will die instantly on the spot at that exact moment, and no one will ever know why. I just know it. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Every time I post these stories, people say I'm LARPing. Okay, here goes. I was 12 years old at the time this happened. I live in a shithole town in Arkansas. I always have burn nights in our burn barrel. Great-grandma had a bunch of creepy dolls that we think were haunting the house, so we burned them. We'll post about those happenings after this. Anyway, Dad and Mom were sauced. They were smoking weed inside. I decided to go back out to the fire to chill and rub fireflies on my arms. I am all alone. Dogs will not follow me for some reason. I am standing in a gravel carport. The dogs are just barking. One is whining. I wonder what the fuck they are barking at. I squint to see the edge of the yard. We had a bunch of uninhabited land and a creek behind our house, but it was separated by a stone wall, plus a fence on top. See what looks like a pale humanoid. Had no face or fingers or toes. It looked kind of squid-like. At least the head did. It was about 6 feet tall. It just stayed there completely motionless. Never made any movement or sound. My head started to hurt. My vision blurred as I looked at it. I pass out. I wake up in the bathtub in different clothes, in an outfit I never even owned actually. It was about midnight when I woke up. I had a dream about the Baldur's Gate game I was currently playing for some reason. In the dream, I was absorbed by the gelatin cube enemies in the game. For some reason I was scared, but also aroused. Parents and friends never believed me. We'll continue with spooks about the house and the ghosts inside of it, and various UFOs me and my family have seen in the area. Maybe even post about the other spooks in other states. The house that we lived in was definitely haunted. It used to be part of a larger house that enveloped the whole block. It was a slave-owning plantation. One night, I am playing Vice City and have to pee. I go from my room to the bathroom, and on the way, I see the ghost of an old lady. She was wearing a pink silk dress with sunflowers on it. It looked almost Japanese, but the old lady ghost was white. She had no hands, but was wearing matching pink silk slippers/shoes. She also had no eyes, just dark holes where her eyes should be. She reached up at me. Instinct takes over. I scream as loud as I can and run straight through her. It was very cold and icy inside of her. I felt it all inside my body. I go inside the bathroom and shut and lock the door. I scream for my mommy. Since I locked the door like a dumbass, she could not even get in. When we first moved into the house, she had so many dolls. One in particular was very creepy. It was an angel made of ceramic. I was trying to sleep on the couch and the doll had her hands out like she was holding something. In her hands was a glowing ball of blue light. I remember feeling very peaceful and went to sleep. Now, here is the creepy part. The next day, I think I liked sleeping in the darkness more. I looked for the plug in a nearby wall socket to unplug the doll. It had no lights of any sort, or even any cords running into it. I would often swim at night in our inflatable pool. It was very humid and hot in the summers. If you've been to Arkansas, you would know. I am laying back on a floaty, looking up at the clear sky. I saw what looked like a rocket fly across the sky. It was very bright and went faster than any plane I've ever seen in my life. It was slower than a shooting star though. Some say it was a meteor or a satellite or even the ISS. It went on a pretty particular path, so maybe they're right, but it gave me a creepy vibe. Second UFO I saw in AR. B driving with my mom to McDonald's. I wanted some late night burgers, nuggets, and fries. Don't worry, I'm not fat and never will be. Are you sure? See a triangle-shaped UFO above us. It keeps, warping. But it's warping in like a triangle formation. Like, it would be here, and then there, and then in another place. But it would only move in a triangle shape. We start talking about it. Dad is like, yeah, whatever. He was always a skeptic until he saw a ghost of his friend that took his own life. We'll post about that later. Anyway, after warping around for a while, the UFO goes to the center of the triangle formation. Each of the 3 lights shoots off, each in the direction of the triangle formation it was making earlier. Could be, military shit. Who knows? Okay, I will post the rest of the spooky shit now. Definitely not everything that's happened to me. We'll post lesser spooks if I feel like it. My dad lived in girlfriend's house. Her mom took her own life because her brother died years ago, and she just could not take it anymore. Since she took her own life, so did her boy. Dad goes out for dinner. Friend says, "You go on without me. You will see me when you get back." When Dad gets back, friend is hanging in the closet, dead. Dad is not afraid of the dark, so he's chilling in the dark of a dead man's house. Sees the guy's ghost with no eyes. The ghost walks into a mirror in the hallway. Later that night, or just later on, he had a dream about the guy who took his own life. He kept saying, "You gotta get me my eyes back. My eyes." Apparently, his eyes were donated to a kid in California so he could regain his sight. I've had repeated contact with an alien visitor or entity since I was a kid. I don't know any other way to explain what I've seen or what I remember seeing. Be me. I was a little kid at the time this one happened. I go and get a drink of water. I see Bob the Builder digging around in my garden through the window. Because I'm just a kid, this doesn't faze me somehow. I don't even question how it's possible. I pop outside to say hi. I ask him what he's building. He smiles and says he's making a sandbox for me to play in. The next day, my dad says he's going to start building a sandbox in the backyard for me and my brothers to play in. Thank you, Bob. I grew up a bit. I don't see Bob for many years. One day, the adults are very worried and all in the TV room talking. I think it was when 9/11 happened. I go outside because I am bored/scared. It's fucking Zobumafu from the Crap Brother swinging on my swing set. But I can tell it's Bass Bob. I sit on the swing next to him and ask him where he's been. He points up to the moon and gives me a cheeky lemur puppet smile. I ask why he's here now. Said he wanted to check up on me because some stuff happened. I thank him for the sandbox. He laughs and swings away into a tree like a moron until I cannot see him anymore. Long time. Many years pass with no visits from Bass Bob. I begin to think it was all my dream/my imagination. Parents think it's a cute story when I tell them. I am finally learning to ride a bike. I am slow at learning things, and I really should have learned years ago, and I am still bad at it. Dad is always telling me to check both ways before I cross a street. I keep forgetting. I'm crossing the street back to my house. I hear a noise out of nowhere, and all of a sudden, I am on the ground. Bass Bob is wearing an Iron Man suit, the silver one, and has gently lowered me to the ground. My bike is completely mauled to shreds under the car. Thank you, Base Bob. Okay, time for a little bit of sad shit. I was trying to keep it light, but there is some not so fun stuff in here. My parents abused me and all my siblings when we were growing up. They were pretty religious and crazy about a lot of things. It changed in what aspects over time, but they definitely followed the whole spare the rod, spoil the child mentality. I somehow ended up being the black sheep of the family because I'm kinda slow and stupid and stubborn, and I daydream too much, so I got beat way more than any of the other kids. Anyway, back to the story. Dad finds out about the accident and the destroyed bike. He asks if I looked both ways. I lied and said I did. He knows I didn't. I'm not sure if he's mad about me being in danger or the bike being fucked, but he is just pissed. I get the ass beating of my life. It hurts so fucking much and is going on forever. I am just screaming at this point. I begin to scream and beg for Jesus to help me. All of a sudden, my dad stops hitting me. I cry into the bed for a few minutes before looking back. My dad is frozen in place, looking terrified as fuck. It's Base Bob, hovering in front of him, looking like his OG builder self again. The spoon my dad was using to beat me literally disintegrates into a million pieces. Dad's eyes are bulging as his wrist begins to bend backwards. Snap, crackle, pop. Bob looks at me. He says he's sorry for not doing something sooner. Can almost see the tears in his eyes. He floats through the ceiling and fucks off. My dad never beats me again. If you're watching out there, Base Bob, thanks for the help. Come back and visit sometime. This is my first time ever posting on this board. English is not my native language, so please be gentle. Being me, I was 6 or 7 years old at the time this happened. I was just a tiny kid visiting my aunt's house in rural Spain, like 60 kilometers from Madrid, but basically in the middle of nowhere. It's the classic old people village. Nothing but fields, stray dogs, and abandoned buildings once you step outside of the main village. The back of the house has this big fence covered in plants. There is a small gate that leads to another street in the village. I am playing near it with my cousin. She was like 10 years older than me. I hear something moving behind the gate. We look over. There is this big-ass dog staring at us through the gate. It's not aggressive, just standing there like some gentle forest spirit. Fluffy as hell. It looked friendly. Tell my cousin we should feed it or play with it. She's like, no, don't. That face when. I just wanted a dog friend. Pick related, looks like it, but the one I saw was orangish. The dog looked stray. It had no collar. Kinda sad. I really wanted to adopt it. My cousin did not care. She eventually left me alone there, or at least that's how it felt. I keep staring at the dog, debating if I should pet him. The dog eventually walks away. I call him back. I call my cousin too. No answer from either. A few minutes later, I see my cousin behind the gate. Finally, she's back. I want to keep playing, but something feels, off. She is just standing there, staring at me. Not blinking, not smiling. Just that weird expression that triggers every uncanny valley neuron in my tiny brain. I call her name. No answer. She keeps staring. She doesn't even move her lips. I step outside to ask what's wrong. She slowly walks backwards as I get closer. Sometimes runs a few steps away, but never breaks eye contact with me. That's when I notice it. She is wearing a white dress. My real cousin was wearing shorts and a white t-shirt when I last saw her. Brain.exe stops working. I am too young to understand what is happening. My only thought is, why is my cousin mad at me? She climbs this weird mound thing near a small park. I try to follow, but it's hard because I am tiny and I end up falling down. She looks pissed now. She starts making angry faces, and then she screams. No actual words come out. Just loud sounds like someone trying to talk but not knowing a single word. I nope the fuck out. I ran faster than my short legs ever did. I get back to the house through the gate. I rush inside thinking what the fuck is happening. I enter the main house looking for some adults. They're in the kitchen. My real cousin is in there too. wearing the shorts and the t-shirt, helping them make croquettes. I feel my soul leave my body. What the fuck? I ask her why she screamed at me and changed clothes. She just stares at me, confused. Aunt and Mom think it's just kid imagination shit. Apparently, she had been in the kitchen the whole time since the dog showed up. The dog never came back either, nor did the whatever that was wearing her face. I never saw it again. I still don't know what the hell I saw. Maybe some random girl who looked exactly like her and was just weird. But why the same face, same hair, same eyes, and that dress? Doppelganger? Skinwalker? I don't know, man. I was just a kid. It has been 20 plus years and it still freaks me out. Does anybody know anything related to Spanish/South European folklore that could be related to this?